Unofficial Pre Fight Show. This coming up weekend, we have UFC 284 when Islam Makhachev takes on Alexander Volkanovski. Let's go. This coming up weekend, we have the UFC lightweight title on the line when the current featherweight champ Alexander Volkanovski goes up in weight to take on current lightweight champ Islam Makhachev. And I gotta say, this is one of the more intriguing fights the UFC has put on in quite some time. You have Alexander Volkanovski, who in my opinion is the greatest featherweight of all time. Guy's on a 22-fight win streak. Has never lost within the UFC. His only professional loss comes 10 years ago against a welterweight, going up against arguably the scariest and most avoided lightweight in UFC history, Islam Makhachev. When I look at this fight, I think the speed advantage will go to Alexander Volkanovski. I really like his footwork going into this bout. He's got great fight IQ, the cardio to go 5 rounds, no problem. A really relentless pace that he puts on guys. And all those qualities and that skill set would legitimately give a lot of fighters at lightweight in the UFC some serious problems. The issue is Islam Makhachev is not like most fighters at lightweight in the UFC. This guy is on a whole nother level with his grappling, his top game control, and just his overall strength and ability to control guys and ultimately submit them or just smash them throughout a fight. One thing I'm really interested to see in this bout is I don't really recall off the top of my head a fight where Volkanovski was taken down and kept on his back for a significant period of time. For me, it's not really a question of is Islam Makhachev going to be able to take Alexander Volkanovski down? It's when is he going to take him down and for how long is he going to be able to keep him there? These are all questions we're going to get answers to on Saturday. But, as much as I like Alexander Volkanovski, I am going to go with Islam Makhachev in this fight. I just think his overall strength, his grappling ability, his top control ability is just going to be too much for Alexander Volkanovski to handle. In my opinion, there's nobody at featherweight, lightweight on the planet that can beat Islam Makhachev right now. I see him staying champ for quite some time, successfully defending that belt for the foreseeable future. But either way, however this one goes down, it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. The winner of this fight on Saturday has got to be on the top of pretty much everybody's pound-for-pound list. And Islam Makhachev is the pick, but haven't been this excited for a fight in quite some time. In the co-main event this weekend, we have the interim featherweight title on the line when Yair Rodriguez takes on Josh Emmett. 2 top 5 featherweights that have been knocking on the door for a title shot for quite some time. Now, I gotta say, I was a little surprised when I looked at the odds for this fight. Odd makers have Yair Rodriguez as a -170 favorite, and I think that's a little disrespectful to Josh Emmett. To me, this fight is much more closer. I have it more as a pick'em fight. I think, for me, whoever comes into this fight with the more disciplined approach and follows their game plan more religiously is ultimately gonna come out with the victory. And, with Yair Rodriguez, we have one of the more dynamic strikers the featherweight division has ever seen. Really technical, flashy kicks. The way the guy throws his combinations together is really beautiful to see, utilizing all striking points of the body. I mean, he's throwing punches, kicks, elbows, knees, which often gives his opponents a lot of issues because they don't know where and when that next strike is coming from. Josh Emmett, on the other hand, is an excellent wrestler with some serious power in his hands. If he connects with a punch, he's got the ability to shut the lights out on pretty much any featherweight on the planet. So both guys bring very different yet intriguing combat skills to the table in this fight. And, the path to victory for each guy is very clear. For Josh Emmett, he's got to get on the inside, fight within boxing range. He's got to make this fight dirty. He's constantly he's going to have to threat with that takedown to keep Yair Rodriguez guessing as to when that next takedown is going to come, which as a result is never going to really allow him to get comfortable with his strikes and throw those combinations that he's well known for. Josh Emmett also needs to use that clinch game, try and kind of slow down the pace of the fight, get Yair Rodriguez back up against the cage, and kind of leverage his strengths. Yair Rodriguez, on the other hand, his path to victory is going to keep this fight at kicking range. Constantly use your footwork, circle back, never go straight back, keep your back off of the cage, and try to ensure the majority of this fight takes place in the center of the octagon. That way you're able to really utilize your dynamic strikes, throw your combinations together, and fight this fight at your range. Again, leverage your capabilities and your skill set. Now, although I feel this fight should be a lot closer than what odd makers have it out to be, I am going to go with the favorite, Yair Rodriguez. Although I would not be surprised if Josh Emmett gets the victory. Again, to me, both guys have very clear paths to victory and very clear strengths that they're going to have to leverage in this fight. And whoever can stick to their game plan, fight in a disciplined way, is going to come out with the victory. So Yair Rodriguez is the pick, but I cautiously pick him. Josh Emmett, I would not be surprised if he pulls out a win on Saturday. Next up, we have a highly anticipated welterweight bout when Randy Brown takes on Jack Della Maddalena. A lot of hype behind Maddalena right now. And, I wasn't really on the hype train initially when he got his victory on Dana White's Contender Series, which ultimately earned him his UFC contract. But man, has this guy looked great so far in his UFC career. He's got some of the nicest boxing and crisp hands I've seen at welterweight. 3-0 in the UFC, all of his wins coming within the first round within the UFC, and he has absolutely lit his opponents up so far. Now, this Saturday, one of the toughest tests in his career, and when he takes on Randy Brown. Randy Brown's a UFC veteran. He's been fighting in the organization since 2015, is on a 4-fight win streak, and has definitely fought a higher level of competition within his MMA career. Important to note, Brown is also coming into this bout with a 5-inch reach advantage. If he can effectively leverage that reach, don't let Maddalena get in boxing range, keep him on the inside, utilize the calf kick to restrict some of the movement of Maddalena, maybe threat with that takedown from time to time. I could see Randy Brown having a lot of success in this fight. For Jack Maddalena, very clear path to victory. Just keep doing what you've been doing so far in your UFC career. Leverage your superior boxing capability. Get in range where you can land your hands. Attack the body like he does so well, and just break down your opponents over time. This is going to be a really interesting fight. Whoever gets the win this Saturday, it's a huge feather in their cap within their UFC and MMA careers. And I am going to go with Jack Maddalena. I am on that hype train. I think just his superior boxing capability and just overall striking IQ will get him the win. So Jack Maddalena is the pick. Next up, we have a heavyweight bout when Justin Tafa takes on Parker Porter. This is kind of like a loser goes home kind of fight. Both guys are fighting for their UFC careers, I feel, on Saturday. And, I'm a little surprised this is even on the main card for a pay-per-view, but nonetheless, you got Justin Tafa. He's an exciting striker, has got unbelievable power. The reality is the guy has gone 2-3 within his UFC career, and both of his wins are against guys who are no longer on the UFC roster. Then you got Parker Porter, who is a pretty well-rounded fighter. He has gone 3-2 within his UFC career, and again, his 3 wins are against struggling heavyweights. A couple of them no longer on the UFC roster either. I feel as if Porter can get this fight to the ground, he's got a pretty good path to victory there, and I think could find some success on Saturday. You can't deny the fact that Justin Tafa is a great kickboxer. He's got really good power, moves well for such a big heavyweight, but I feel like Tafa is a little one-dimensional, and I'm just not quite sure he's at the level to be fighting in the best MMA organization on planet Earth. So I am going to go with Parker Porter. I'm actually surprised he's the underdog in this fight. I think the fact that Justin Tafa is Australian and this fight is taking place in Australia, maybe oddmakers kind of gave him that hometown advantage, but Parker Porter is the pick. And that is it for this episode of the Unofficial Pre Fight Show. Enjoy the fights this weekend. We'll see you next time.